The world doesn't pay you what you're worth. It pays you what you believe you're worth. It doesn't give you success based on what you hope for. It gives it based on what you move like, think like, act like. And the greatest secret every self-made millionaire has known, the one thing they never waited for, is this. You don't wait to become successful before you act like it. You act as if you are a millionaire. Long before the money's in the bank. Long before the world believes it. You walk, talk, move, build, and think like someone who already carries that weight, that responsibility, that identity. Not because you're pretending, but because you're training. This isn't about faking anything. It's about aligning yourself with the life you were meant to live. Most people are waiting for permission to rise, waiting for a check to act disciplined, waiting for applause to act confident, waiting for the breakthrough to start working like they're already blessed. But the game doesn't work like that. Life doesn't reward the passive. It rewards the prepped. The people who walk into every room like they belong, not because they're arrogant, but because they've decided they are worth something, that their life has meaning, that they don't need the external to validate what the internal already knows. You act as if you're a millionaire, not because you have it in your wallet, but because you already have it in your habits. You eat like someone who values energy. You read like someone who's responsible for making big decisions. You show up early like someone who owns the room. You speak like someone who doesn't waste words. You dress not to impress, but to express your standard. And when life gets heavy, you don't panic. You pivot. You don't beg. You build. Because millionaires don't wait to feel ready. They train until it's natural. You want the wealth? Then live like someone who knows how to carry it. Because wealth doesn't destroy people, it reveals them. And if you can't steward your mornings, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, you won't steward millions. Not because you're not smart, but because you haven't become the person yet. That's what this is really about. Not money, but maturity. Not status, but structure. You don't become a millionaire by accident. You become one by alignment. Internally, day after day, with every choice, every hour, every interaction, every standard you refuse to lower. Act as if you are a millionaire, not because you're chasing money, but because you're chasing ownership. Ownership of your mind, ownership of your choices, ownership of your presence. Because money doesn't make a man. Alignment does. Responsibility does. Discipline does. And until you start moving with the gravity of someone who has built wealth on the inside, the outside will never follow. The person who waits for the bank account to build the mindset will lose. Because money doesn't change people. It exposes them. So if you're insecure, money magnifies it. If you're ungrateful, money amplifies it. If you're undisciplined, money will make you dangerous, not powerful. That's why you must build the millionaire version of you before the millions ever arrive. Because when you become the person who deserves it, you'll attract the life that matches it. You don't earn millions with your mouth, you earn it with your habits. With how you show up when no one claps. With how you respond when the pressure comes. With how you command your day, your time, your energy, your word. Act as if you're a millionaire in how you think. A millionaire doesn't waste their mind. They don't clutter it with junk. They don't feed it gossip. They don't fuel it with fear. They train it like an athlete, like a soldier. They read, they reflect, they learn. Not because it's trendy, but because their decisions carry weight. Their ideas build futures. Their thinking moves the market. And if your mind is still fragile, scattered, easily distracted, you're not building wealth, you're building worry. You're not preparing for responsibility, you're rehearsing regret. But when you think like a millionaire long before the money comes, you build the foundation to keep it. Act as if you're a millionaire in how you handle your time. Because time is money, and anyone who wastes it is already broke. Millionaires don't chase every notification. They don't live on someone else's schedule. They don't allow the calendar to be dictated by drama or distractions. They plan. They prioritize. They protect the hours that shape the outcomes. If your time is chaotic, your life will be too. But if your time is governed by standards, not emotion, then your results will be governed by growth, not reaction. Don't wait until your time is worth $1,000 an hour. Live like it is now. and watch how life begins to respond. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you speak. A millionaire doesn't speak carelessly. Every word carries weight. They don't talk to be liked. They speak to lead. They don't gossip. They guide. They don't echo noise. They shape culture. Because their words are not thrown out for approval, they're delivered with intention. And when you speak with that kind of clarity, that kind of command, people don't just listen, they adjust. So, check your tongue. Is it building you up or breaking you down? Is it attracting opportunity or repelling it? Is it aligned with the future you want or the fear you tolerate? Speak as if you already carry the weight of legacy and you'll begin to walk in it. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you move. A millionaire walks into a room and doesn't beg to be seen. Their posture speaks before their mouth does. Their energy is calm, certain, controlled. Why? Because they're not performing. They're present. They're not seeking attention. They're focused on intention. They've done the work internally, so they don't need to convince anyone of who they are. Their body language says, I belong here. Not because I'm lucky, but because I've built myself to carry this room. And if you don't yet move like that, it's not because you're unworthy, it's because you haven't trained your nervous system to match your vision. But that can change. And it changes by moving today as if your presence already carries value. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you lead yourself. Because before you lead teams, families, movements, companies, communities, you must lead you. And leadership starts with one powerful choice. I will not let my feelings dictate my future. Because if you move when you feel like it and pause when you don't, you've surrendered your life to emotion. But when you decide, I move because I'm called to move, I rise because I've been given a life to build, I act because I'm becoming who I said I'd be, that's when the shift begins. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop making deals with delay. You stop tolerating old behaviors. Because the millionaire version of you doesn't need hype. They need discipline. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you treat people. Because money doesn't excuse you from manners. Power doesn't replace character. And no matter how high you climb, if your presence makes people feel small, you've already failed. The real ones, the ones who've evolved, not just earned, they walk in humility, wrapped in certainty. They don't flex to prove status. They serve to build others. They listen with patience. They lead with clarity. They give without expectation. They build relationships with the same care they build portfolios because they understand wealth that isn't relational is hollow. And if you can't be kind with nothing, you'll be cruel with everything. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you handle pressure. Because money magnifies everything. And if pressure breaks you now, success will bury you. Millionaires don't avoid pressure, they practice it. They rehearse clarity in chaos. They don't react with panic. They respond with presence. When setbacks come, they don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? They don't fold. They focus. Because pressure is the gym where character is carved. And every time you choose discipline over emotion, precision over panic, decision over delay, you're training for more. You're showing life. I can handle this. I'm becoming unshakable. Act as if you are a millionaire in your self-respect. Not in arrogance, in alignment. You don't show up desperate. You don't chase people who don't value you. You don't explain your worth. You embody it. You walk away from rooms that can't handle your growth. You don't beg to belong. You build your own table. Because you know, the more you evolve, the less you tolerate. The more you grow, the more selective you become. And when your identity is solid, you don't need permission. You don't need validation. You know who you are and you guard it like your future depends on it. Because it does. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you recover. Because life will hit. You will lose. You will fall. And what separates the average from the unstoppable is not whether they get knocked down, it's how fast they rise. A millionaire mindset doesn't dwell in pity. It doesn't live in defeat. It turns setbacks into blueprints. It turns rejection into refinement. It doesn't replay the pain, it rewires the perspective. Because when you act like a millionaire, you move like someone who understands the world isn't against you, It's sculpting you. And you don't heal by hiding. You heal by building again. Act as if you are a millionaire in your environment. Because your surroundings are not just background, they're signals. And the person who evolves into greatness becomes ruthless about their space. Your room should reflect your standard. Your desk should echo your discipline. Your digital life should reinforce your focus. You don't wait for a mansion to live clean. You don't wait for an office to act organized. You treat what you have as if it's already sacred. Because how you treat your environment is how you treat your future. And a millionaire doesn't step over clutter, they clear it. They create environments that support power, places where thoughts grow, energy moves. And excellence isn't an exception, it's the expectation. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you see yourself. Because identity is the thermostat of your life. If you see yourself as struggling, you'll sabotage success. If you see yourself as unlucky, you'll repel opportunity. But if you see yourself as worthy, if you train your mind to believe with every fiber of your being that you are capable, called, crafted for greatness, then your actions will rise to match it. You won't wait to feel confident, you'll move with conviction. You won't need to fake anything because the inside and outside will finally agree. That's not ego. That's alignment. And when you walk in alignment, doors open. Not by luck, but by law. Act as if you are a millionaire in your decisions. Because success is not one big breakthrough. It's 1,000 small daily votes cast in favor of who you're becoming. You don't wait for perfect clarity. You decide. You move. You make bold calls with imperfect data. Why? Because millionaires don't obsess over making no mistakes. They obsess over making momentum. And if you can't make decisions under pressure, you'll always live in someone else's plan. But the person who acts as if they are a millionaire, they own their choices. They own the outcome. They don't blame. They build. And they understand this truth. The quality of your life will always mirror the quality of your decisions. Act as if you are a millionaire in your inner circle. Because proximity is power. And no one evolves alone. You don't need 10 million friends, you need 5 warriors. 5 focused, growing, no-nonsense people who sharpen your standards, challenge your excuses, and stretch your vision. A millionaire doesn't surround themselves with comfort. They surround themselves with conviction. So look around. Who speaks into your future? Who gets your energy? Who drains it? Who raises the bar and who pulls it down? And if your circle is built on survival, don't expect to rise in evolution. Make the hard calls. Choose alignment over history. Because every relationship is either multiplying your momentum or murdering it in silence. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you treat today. Not tomorrow, not next year. Today. Because today is your audition. Today is your opportunity. Today is the proving ground where you show the universe that you're not waiting to be blessed. You're preparing to handle the blessing. You rise early. You plan ruthlessly. You execute with precision. You don't waste the minutes and hope the years will work out. You attack the morning. You own the schedule. You make this day look like a preview of your future life. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you handle failure. Because failure is not the opposite of success, it's the tuition you pay for mastery. Millionaires don't fear failure, they leverage it. They don't personalize setbacks, they study them. They don't cry about mistakes, they mine the lesson. Because every scar is a story. Every loss is a ledger. Every breakdown is a blueprint. So when things fall apart, and they will, you don't collapse. You calculate. You don't shrink. You shift. You ask better questions. You refine the strategy. And you walk back into the storm not weaker, but wiser. Because failure doesn't define a millionaire. It disciplines one. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you use your voice. Because your words are not decoration, they are tools, weapons, seeds. And if you speak fear, you will reap fear. If you speak doubt, you will birth delay. But if you speak life, speak focus, speak excellence, your words will begin to construct your future. Millionaires speak with authority. not loud. Clear, not dramatic. Decisive. They speak from vision, not emotion. From principle, not pressure. Because they know what you consistently declare, you eventually become. So stop rehearsing defeat. Stop echoing the noise. And start using your mouth like a sword, not a sponge. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you handle success. Because not every test comes in failure. Some of the hardest tests come when things start working, when the money starts coming, when the praise shows up, when people admire the grind they didn't see. That's where most lose themselves. That's where ego replaces gratitude. That's where they forget who they were before the applause. But the ones who last, they remain rooted. They remember the silence. They remain humble in the spotlight and hungry behind the scenes. Because a true millionaire doesn't let success slow them down, they let it sober them. They remember, this is not a reward. This is responsibility. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you handle obscurity. Because before the spotlight comes the silence. Before the recognition comes the refinement. And the ones who make it, they don't need attention to keep showing up. They don't need applause to validate the work. They don't beg the world to notice. Because they know obscurity is the boot camp of champions. The training ground for those who won't fold under the weight of being unseen. If you can't handle being overlooked, you'll never be trusted with being seen. But the one who acts like a millionaire, they grind in the shadows. They build without broadcasting. They trust that what is forged in the dark will command light. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you serve. Because real wealth doesn't just accumulate, it activates. It looks for places to pour, people to lift, lives to shift. A millionaire doesn't just think of ROI, they think of impact. They understand legacy is not what you keep, it's what you leave. So they build systems that help others rise. They give from abundance, not guilt. They elevate the room, not dominate it, because they know generosity is not weakness, it's evidence of inner wealth. You don't give because you have extra. You give because you are extra, overflowing, aligned, whole. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you see time. Because time is not something to kill, it is something to leverage. A true millionaire doesn't fill their day, they fuel it. They don't let hours pass without purpose. They assign meaning to the minutes. Every calendar block has an intention. Every task has a target. Every action is connected to a vision. You're not busy, you're building. And if it doesn't push the vision forward, it doesn't get access to your energy. Because millionaires don't manage time, they command it. And when you live like time is sacred, your life starts to feel sacred too. Act as if you are a millionaire in your resilience. Because life doesn't respect your feelings, it respects your fortitude. You will be underestimated, you will be misjudged, you will be tested. And the question will never be, do you have the talent? It will be, do you have the tenacity? The millionaire mindset doesn't break under pressure, it builds under it. Every obstacle becomes resistance training. Every rejection becomes redirection. Every betrayal becomes sharpening. You don't get bitter, you get better. And every time life tries to push you down, you answer with one move. You rise anyway. Act as if you are a millionaire in your structure. Because your life will never rise above the systems you set. Passion is fuel, but structure is fireproof. Millionaires live by design, not default. Their finances have order, their priorities have rhythm. Their goals are tracked. Their rituals are non-negotiable. They don't rely on memory, they rely on mechanism. Their days don't drift, they drive. Because success isn't found in inspiration, it's built in infrastructure. And if you want to act like a millionaire, you can't keep living in chaos and praying for clarity. You must architect your days with intention. Every moment is either compounding your destiny or robbing it. Act as if you are a millionaire in how you deal with your past. Because your past is not a prophecy, it's a platform. It's not a limitation, it's a library. It's not a sentence, it's seed. But only if you choose it. Only if you stop letting history define you and start letting it refine you. Millionaires don't deny their story, they redeem it. They take the pain and build purpose. They take the dysfunction and build discipline. They take the losses and turn them into leverage. Because they understand you don't outgrow your past by forgetting it. You outgrow it by transcending it. And when you act like a millionaire, your scars no longer whisper shame. They shout strength. Act as if you are a millionaire, not for vanity, but for victory. Not to impress the world, but to honor your potential. Not to chase status, but to match your assignment. You don't wait for the bank balance to live with boldness. You don't wait for the applause to walk in alignment. You don't wait for comfort to move in conviction. Because wealth, real wealth, starts in the way you carry yourself, before anyone believes, before anything appears, before the world ever says, you made it. You don't get ready, you stay ready. You build rituals that command respect. You make decisions that collapse excuses. You raise standards so high that old habits can't breathe in your presence. You don't visit excellence, you live there. Because you are no longer acting like a millionaire to convince others. You are acting like one to convince the old you to never come back. You walk in rooms like they were built for you, not because of ego, but because of execution. You speak less, but every word is heavy. You show up earlier, stay later, grow deeper, and move quieter. You no longer react to life, you reconstruct it. Your posture speaks, your schedule speaks, your silence speaks. Your life becomes a loud, undeniable sermon of standard. This is not about getting rich. This is about getting ready. Getting ready to lead. Getting ready to carry weight. Getting ready to hold blessings you used to pray for. Because when you act as if you are a millionaire in mindset, in mission, in method, you stop chasing wealth and you start embodying it. And from that moment on, the world is no longer deciding your value. You are. You don't act rich to get rich. You act ready to become unstoppable. You act like the future is already yours. And in that mindset, in that alignment, there is no force left that can stop you. There comes a moment in every human life when silence becomes unbearable, not the silence around us, but the silence within us. The silence of potential, neglected, of dreams, delayed, of truth, buried beneath excuses. You feel it not as noise, but as ache. That ache is the call to rise, the call to remember, the call to become. And to become, you must begin to act. Not when it's perfect, not when you're ready, not when you feel qualified, but now. Act as if you are already there, because you don't become great by earning it. You become great by embodying it. First in belief, then in discipline, and finally in manifestation. Every level of your life is a mirror. It reflects back, not what you wish for, but what you assume to be true about yourself. You want wealth? Start walking like you're worthy of it. You want power? Speak like someone who has something to say. You want love? Live like someone who already knows how to give it without fear. Because the world does not give to the desperate, it gives to the decided. The man who moves like he's destined cannot be ignored. The woman who acts like she belongs will always find her way into the room. This is not about arrogance. This is about alignment. Acting not with ego, but with identity. Your new life will cost you your old one, and that begins with behavior. You cannot think one way and act another and expect peace. You cannot dream of transformation while defending the habits of survival. If you want to change your life, stop negotiating with your fear and start obeying your future. Walk like it, think like it, speak like it, move like it. Because every time you act like the future is already yours, you drag it closer to you. You bend reality in your direction, not with magic, but with certainty. And certainty is earned not through information, but through execution. Act as if you are already there. Because action is not just movement, it's permission. Every step you take tells the universe, I'm ready. Every disciplined choice becomes a declaration. I belong here. And suddenly, what felt far isn't far. What seemed impossible starts to shift. Because the moment you stop waiting for external confirmation and start creating internal conviction, the entire game changes. You stop reacting and start directing. You stop wondering and start commanding. That's when life starts to respect you. You don't fake it till you make it. You behave it until you become it. Because faking is pretending, but acting in alignment is becoming. This isn't about appearance, it's about embodiment. You must wear the character before the world ever gives you the role. The actor who becomes the role doesn't wait for the director's cue. He lives the part. He breathes it. He is it long before the camera rolls. So who are you becoming? Not what are you chasing? Not what are you dreaming? Who are you deciding to be? Because the most powerful decision in your life will not be the day you find your purpose, your career, your partner, or your audience. The most powerful decision is the moment you start living like the person your destiny demands. Not when you feel like it, not when they believe in you, but when you refuse to delay one more day, pretending you're not ready. Because ready is a lie. No one is ready. No one ever was. The difference between the world changers and the world watchers is simple. One moved anyway. Act as if you are already there. Because when you act like you are already there, your life starts rejecting everything that doesn't match that identity. You stop tolerating cheap conversation. You stop accepting half-built habits. You stop surrounding yourself with people who make you forget your power. You don't fit into old rooms anymore, not because you think you're better, but because you've outgrown the story they keep trying to put you back into. You start building everything, your morning, your words, your thoughts, your energy, as if it matters. Because it does. There is no detail too small, there is no habit too minor. Everything you do is a rehearsal for who you are becoming. Everything. And if you think greatness starts at the top, you haven't understood the math of transformation. Greatness begins in the minutiae, the invisible moments, the unsexy choices, the mornings you don't feel it, but do it anyway. Because your future self is not created in peak moments, it's built in the quiet consistency when no one's watching, and you show up anyway. And that's what acting as if truly means. It means you no longer need proof. You are the proof. You don't beg the world to notice you, you walk like someone who cannot be ignored. And it's not confidence. It's not ego. It's alignment. It's identity in motion. It's integrity in full expression. You are no longer waiting for the permission to be great. You're now living as if it's already done. Act as if you are already there. Because pretending is temporary, but embodying is eternal. The body remembers what the mind rehearses. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between reality and repeated belief. Every time you move with intention, your brain rewires, your chemistry shifts, and your future self starts coming online. That's not fiction. That's physics. That's biology. That's transformation. Do you want to change your life? Then change your identity, not by waiting for success to validate you, but by walking like success already trusts you. Like discipline is your default setting. Like excellence is your love language. Like sacrifice is sacred, not burdensome. Like mastery is the minimum. Like faith is a strategy, not a wish. People say, when I get there, I'll act differently. No, when you act differently, you get there. You build the result by becoming the reason. You attract the outcome by embodying the energy. You don't wait to be chosen. You choose yourself over and over until there's nothing left but truth and momentum. The version of you that reaches your dreams does not live in the future. It lives in your next decision, the next word you speak, the next task you complete, the next time you ignore the impulse to retreat and instead advance. You don't need to know how it all ends. You just need to act like someone who refuses to go back. That's the separation. That's where most people fail. They dip their toe in the water of change, but they don't stay. They want results without repetition. They want victory without the valley. But the one who acts as if has already accepted that the price is part of the process. He welcomes it. She leans into it. Because once you live like the outcome is already yours, the pain becomes part of the proof. Do the reps like a master. Speak the truth like a leader. Show up like a giant even when your voice shakes. Especially when your voice shakes. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the alignment of action in the face of it. You are not acting to impress. You are acting to align. Align with your future. Align with your potential. Align with the version of you that no longer negotiates with mediocrity. Every time you act from identity, not emotion, not fear, not convenience, but identity, you lay another brick in the foundation of greatness. And this identity is not fiction. It is the most real part of you. The problem is, you've been living beneath it, operating from limitation, dressing up insecurity in the name of realism. But now that mask is cracked, and what's rising through the fracture is power. Power that was always there, buried, under the fear of being misunderstood, under the weight of who you used to be, under the stories that no longer belong to you. But today, right now, you stop telling those stories. You stop borrowing beliefs from people who never built anything. You stop speaking the language of limitation because your future cannot understand it. Your next level only responds to fluency in ownership. Ownership of your time, your craft, your energy, your thoughts, your boundaries, your identity. When you act as if you are already there, you stop asking, am I ready? And you start declaring, I'm responsible. Not responsible in fear, responsible in power, in stewardship, in dignity. Because people who are building something worth becoming do not wait to be chosen. They assign themselves the role. They accept the weight. And they rise to meet it. You act like you're already there, not to skip the process, but to honor it. You don't fake the fruit. You plant the tree. You tend the soil. You protect the root. You show up before it looks successful. Because deep down, you know anyone can act aligned when the stage is lit. But the ones who make it, the ones who own it, are the ones who walk like kings and queens in the dark, when no one believes yet, when the results are still invisible, when you're still questioned, still underestimated, still doubted even by the one in the mirror, and you move anyway. That is power. That is presence. That is how legacy is born. So from now on, you don't perform. You present. You present the version of yourself that's not waiting on results to feel real. You present the version that lives in truth before the world gives you its confirmation. Because confirmation is for the followers. You're a builder. When you act as if you are already there, you stop reacting to life and start leading it. You don't ask what the day brings you, tell the day who you are, and your actions become prophecy. Your habits become declarations. Your discipline becomes devotion. Because you no longer treat your potential like a guest, you treat it like a resident. You move like someone whose future is not a question mark, but a contract. Signed not in ink, but in effort, in sacrifice, in focus. And this contract, it's not with the world. It's not even with results. It's with yourself. With the deepest part of you that knows what you're capable of and is done pretending otherwise. The part of you that's sick of shrinking, tired of stalling, fed up with fitting in rooms that were never built for someone with your capacity. So you rise. You rise before the results show up. You rise before the applause. You rise before the bank balance. You rise before the dream is popular. Because your power is not dependent on outcomes. Your power produces them. You are no longer waiting for external permission to believe. You are becoming the kind of person who makes belief unnecessary because everything in your life proves it. And yes, you will be misunderstood. You will be mocked. They will call it ego, call it delusion, call it arrogance. But you know the truth. You're not acting out of pride. You're acting out of alignment, out of deep, sacred responsibility to the calling on your life. Because you were not born for comfort. You were born for consequence. You were born to create ripple effects, to break patterns, to build what has never been seen before and become someone the world has never met before. And how do you do that? Not by waiting, not by wishing, but by walking one aligned action at a time until reality has no choice but to bow to your standards. You will not go back. You cannot unsee what you now know. You are not chasing a future. You are becoming it. From now on, every room you enter must adjust to your presence. Not because you speak louder, but because you walk straighter. Because your posture is no longer built on insecurity, but on intention. Your identity is no longer leased from the opinions of others. It is owned, anchored, forged in the fires of daily, unshakable discipline. When you act as if you are already there, it changes how you speak. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't building what you're building. You stop apologizing for being intense, focused, committed. The future you are carrying cannot be birthed through casual effort. Casual effort is for people with casual dreams. Yours is not casual. Yours is generational. So your words get sharper. Your tone gets cleaner. Your boundaries get stronger. Not because you're cold, but because you're clear. You don't have time for emotional turbulence. You don't have bandwidth for watered-down conversations. You don't debate your future with people who gave up on theirs. Why? Because you are already operating as if it's real. The money may not be in the account yet. The stage may not be built yet. The audience may not know your name yet. But none of that changes how you carry yourself. Because kings don't wait for crowns to act like royalty. Queens don't wait for applause to command presence. They walk like they're called. Because they are. And you are. So walk like it, dress like it, speak like it, think like it, wake up like it, work like it, eat like it, read like it, train like it, rest like it, love like it. Protect your peace like it. Protect your mind like it. Build your life like it. Because this isn't pretending. It's preparing. You are not faking it. You are practicing being it until your body, your brain, your world starts reflecting the truth you've already chosen. And one day they'll say, you came out of nowhere. They'll ask how you did it. They'll wonder how you grew so quickly. And you'll smile because you'll know you didn't rise overnight. You just started acting like it was already yours. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove it. You don't need validation, verification, or approval. That season is over. You don't need to wait for the world to crown you. You already know who you are. And when you act as if you were already there, you take your place, not by demand, but by presence. You don't ask to be invited. You walk in like the table was waiting for you. Because it was. The vision you carry didn't choose you by accident. It found you because you're the one willing to do what most people won't. It found you because you're the one willing to stay when it gets boring. Willing to stand when it gets lonely. Willing to speak when it's unpopular. Willing to lead when it's heavy. You don't want it easy. You want it earned. Because you know that the real reward isn't what you get. It's who you become. The money is nice. The impact is real. But what truly matters is that you'll look back and realize you didn't fold. You didn't fake. You didn't settle. You became, and becoming requires sacrifice. You will outgrow people. You will be misunderstood. You will lose interest in things that once entertained you. Your circle will shrink. Your appetite will change. Your energy will shift. This is the cost of alignment. And it is always worth it. Because while they're still talking about it, you're doing it. While they're still waiting, you're walking. While they're still dreaming, you're deciding. Every moment you act in alignment with your highest self, the old you dies a little more. And the version of you that was born to lead, born to elevate, born to shift generations that one begins to breathe. So breathe deeper, walk taller, speak clearer. Because you don't need to become her. You don't need to become him. You are already there. Now act like it. The world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. And who you are is defined not by your emotions, not by your history, not by the voices that doubted you, but by your standard. And your standard is no longer negotiable. You don't get to say you want to lead and still live like a follower. You don't get to say you want peace and still entertain chaos. You don't get to say you want greatness and still hide from the mirror. That version of you, the one who waited, the one who wished, the one who hoped for a shortcut is gone, buried in yesterday, burned by the light of truth. Now you move from power. Now you move from presence. Now you walk into every room knowing, I've already paid the price. I've already decided. I've already acted. I am already there. And it shows in how you speak, in how you schedule, in how you protect your time, like royalty protects the throne. Because your future is not up for auction. It's not open to negotiation. It's claimed. Claimed by the way you rise when no one's watching. Claimed by the way you work in silence. Claimed by the way you refuse to fold under pressure. The pressure only proves that you're close. You're not behind, you're in the stretch. And the stretch is sacred. The stretch separates the talkers from the walkers. The stretch asks, do you really want this? Or did you just like the sound of it? And when you act as if you are already there, the answer is clear. Because your habits don't lie. Your calendar doesn't lie. Your self-talk doesn't lie. You no longer say, I hope it happens. You say, I'm becoming the one who makes it happen. And that's why you win. Because the goal is not to impress, it's to integrate. The goal is not to perform, it's to possess. The goal is not to chase the future. It's to become so aligned, so rooted in truth, that the future has no choice but to meet you where you stand. And where you stand is sacred ground. Because now you are already there. When you act as if you are already there, you stop running from resistance, you welcome it. Because you know that resistance is not a sign of weakness, it's a signal of arrival. Nobody resists what doesn't threaten the norm. Resistance only shows up when you start to matter, when your movement has weight, when your voice starts bending reality, when your energy begins disturbing mediocrity. And disturbance is the birthplace of elevation. You were not born to fit in. You were born to interrupt the pattern, to break cycles, to shift legacies. That's why you feel like you don't belong where you used to. That's why the conversations that used to satisfy you now taste like sand. That's why old friends feel foreign and old habits feel like betrayal. Because your identity has moved. And when your identity moves, your entire atmosphere must change to match it. You can't act as if you're already there and keep surrounding yourself with people who act as if they're still stuck. You can't think like a king and walk with clowns. You can't build a future from the basement of your former self. So rise, not just in height, in environment, in standards, in silence, because your silence now becomes sacred, not empty, but full of decisions, full of depth, full of days where no one sees the bricks you lay, but the foundation begins to roar underneath your feet. And soon, people will see the structure. They'll see the result. They'll ask how. They'll wonder when. But you won't be surprised because you were already there before it was real. You walked in it. You worked in it. You lived in it. And when the reward arrived, it wasn't a miracle. It was a match. You matched the energy, matched the responsibility, matched the vision, and the universe matched you. So let them doubt. Let them scoff. Let them misunderstand. But never let them outlast you. Because the one who acts as if they are already there is already winning. This is where you stop asking for signs. This is where you stop needing proof. This is where you stop waiting to become and start embodying what has always lived inside you. Because the man or woman who acts as if they are already there no longer dreams with hope. They dream with strategy. They move with precision. They live with clarity. And clarity is louder than ambition. It's cleaner than noise. It's stronger than fear. From this moment forward, you no longer walk like a question. You walk like an answer. You speak like it's already done. You rise before the sun. You show up when it's boring. You endure when it's lonely. You commit when it's hard. And you become what others said was impossible. Not through magic, not through luck, but through a sacred decision to walk it out. Not once, not when it's convenient, but until it's complete. The applause will come, the reward will come, the title will come, but none of those things will change you because you already became the person before the world caught up. And now you are no longer chasing the dream. You are living like it's already yours. So go. Build. Lead. Create. Dominate your lane. Command your morning. Protect your mind. Own your energy. And every time doubt knocks, every time fear whispers, every time the old version of you tries to reclaim the mic, look it in the eye and say, "You're too late. I'm already there." Act as if. Be as if. Live like it's done. And one day they'll ask how you did it. And you'll smile without needing to explain. Because by then, you won't need to act anymore. You'll simply be.